What is going on, you guys? Looks like we're live. We're here live on YouTube. We're here live on Twitch. We're here live on X. And guys, I'm going to give you a Saturday night film session. Going to take you some of the stuff that the Falcons are running through right now, and really what's happening on the Falcons end when it comes to them running third down plays. The Falcons going ahead and getting things done in regards to really anything and everything in the end zone. So I'm going to take you guys through. Yesterday, I took you guys through the Falcons defense. Really, what I wanted to show you was a couple plays with, we looked at Patrick Mahomes, some of the success that Mahomes had really running, not even what I would say tight window throws, but scheme throws that were into the middle of the field. We saw that catch with Juju Smith-Schuster getting that defender out of the middle of the field by using motion. Yesterday there was a big you know pitch on using motion because every single touchdown that we analyzed yesterday, the Falcons, they were susceptible to motion. Their defense didn't do well against it. They had problems communicating. You could see some of the players kind of looking at each other after the play saying, hey, you should have got this guy, or, going through that really after almost every single play that they had in the red zone. So not only yesterday did we see that the Falcons can get run on, we also saw that the Falcons can get thrown on. And they're susceptible to not only attacks from 20 yards in, whether that's through the air, but they're also able to get scored on when it's coming to goal line situations. And I know everybody wants to discuss the Zeke drama. Shout out to Knicks, Tuck, Law. They kind of went through that today in spaces. So I won't get into that, but, we have Dalvin Cook and Rico Dowdle as our tandem this week. And we should have a better chance at running the ball because we have a little bit more to offer there. But I don't think we're going to run the ball too much. It's going to end up being a shootout. You guys can see the over under is 52 points. Vegas thinks it's going to be a shootout. They think that the Cowboys and the Falcons will both put up more than 25 points each, and I do as well. The problem that I have here is when we take a look at this, the Falcons are 4-2 in close games. The Cowboys, on the other hand, are not. They're not doing well at all in close games. They're not even getting to the point where they can have close games. We're getting blown out of the water before we get into halftime. So that's my only worry with this team. They're 12th in points per game, number 5 in pass efficiency. They have two great backs with Bijan Robinson being, the person that's the bell cow. And they actually split his time quite well with Tyler Algier. Brian Broaddus talked about this a little bit. Bijan does a great job running to the right, Algier to the left. So let's take a look at how this is going to go tomorrow. And really, I wanted to do a film session on what the Falcons could present if we get them into a third and long situation. That's the first thing that we're going to start to take a look at here. This is against the Steelers, and in third and long, obviously they're looking to pass, but they're looking to be a little bit deceptive. Not only are the Falcons trying to line up three wide and get their tight end involved, but they're also looking to run screen plays. And the Falcons are also trying to be very, very deceptive in terms of motion and things like that as well. Their quarterback's immobile. Kirk Cousins can't get out of the pocket. He's looking to set up these timing routes so that he can get the ball out of his hands and his wide receivers can be successful going ahead. Just going to move on to the next play here. Again, third and long, you're going to see that they have a running back in the backfield to chip. He's going to be the check down option. Kirk tries to get him the ball, but he can't. That pass rush is there, and the Steelers are able to get home. So this is something I'm looking for the Cowboys to do tomorrow if they get into a third down situation. The only problem that we have is that we don't know who's going to be rushing the passer. Who's going to be that guy? Micah Parsons has been ruled out. Trayvon Diggs could have a possible injury. Deron Bland has been ruled out as well. Kendricks is questionable. I'd like to see the Cowboys deploy Overshown the same way Dan Quinn did Micah Parsons the first year when DeMarcus Lawrence had that same injury, I guess, that he's having right now. The reason that Micah Parsons turned into the player that he is today is because Dan Quinn put him in that position. He let him rush the passer when really we had no other game plan and no other edge rushers, similar to the situation that we're facing now. And Dan Quinn went ahead and created something out of nothing. And Mike Zimmer has the possibility of doing the same thing as well. We don't really need to go ahead and line over shown up, in the defensive end position and have him rushing against a left or right tackle. But what we definitely can do is run these double A gap blitzes. We can put Overshown in a position to rush the passer. He already has some sacks on the season, looking like our one of our most promising players coming up on the defense in 2024. So want to give him more opportunities when and if we get the Falcons in these positions. You can see here that the Falcons are susceptible to pressure. Heard it on the radio this week, and I'll repeat it back to you guys. When Kirk Cousins is under pressure, he's about like 600, 700 yards, 6 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. The other side of that, with no pressure, it's about 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So the exact opposite, really, of each other. I'm just going to go ahead and fix my camera here for a second. Guys, this is another play here against the Eagles. Now, Kirk's going to go ahead and run the ball here because he has no option to throw to. The Eagles defensive line's able to, collapse the pocket there and get to him. This is some of the stuff we have to see out of the Cowboys. Rushing four. They have Nakobe Dean here kind of playing that spy, so he makes sure that number 7, Bijan Robinson, isn't that quick outlook that Kirk can have. It seems like on these third down plays, guys, what we're seeming to or starting to recognize actually is that Bijan that is that check down option when he's in here. He's going to give a quick little chip like he does right there, and he's going to be that outlet for Kirk Cousins to go ahead and try to get a quick throw off to and make something happen out of nothing. And you can see that they throw the ball there to Kyle Pitts as well. But like I said, this is something that we're starting to notice as a tendency, right? Guys, this is why we do these Saturday night film sessions, and I review this with you folks. Is we're trying to look for tendencies. So when the Falcons go ahead and line up tomorrow, we can see or have a little bit of a semblance of what they're trying to do. Another third and long situation here. You're going to see a running back in the backfield. They're going to run motion, and Kirk Cousins isn't going to have a lot of time to get this ball off, but they're trying to throw it right to the sticks, and they're going to number 5 here as well. I think we'll get off this piece in terms of their third and longs and what they're doing there, and let's take a look at something else. So, want ahead to take a look at really this play situation where um, they're facing blitz. And what happens when they're facing blitz? What happens to Kirk Cousins when teams decide to blitz, you know, their linebacker, their cornerback from the left or right side? And in this case, you can see number 50 trying to come up the middle, and it's almost an interception. So, this is how we're going to have success tomorrow if the Cowboys defense is trying to get off the field. I think Mike Zimmer needs to deploy quite a bit of blitzes to get and manufacture some pressure because the defensive line is not going to be able to do that by themselves. Again, blitzed here. Kirk Cousins is able to get off the throw in this scenario, but let's just take a look at what's happening to the offensive line when the pressure's coming in. Um, this is another blitz where number 50 is just trying to go around the offensive guard, and it looks like he's just trying to go over the right guard's left shoulder and sneak his way in there to Kirk. The Eagles, who we're facing in 2 weeks as well, it'll be interesting to watch this play. They have 4 people on the line. They're blitzing somebody else from the left hand side. Looks like number 17, Nakobe Dean. And like I said, guys, if we're going to do this, we got to be a little bit wary of number 7, Bijan Robinson. He's that check down option for Kirk when he wants to go ahead and get a quick play and try to get something out of nothing. That's usually who he's going to in these high pressure situations. You'll see him turn around and really throw Bijan the ball right away and try to get it out of his hands. And really, I'm expecting the Cowboys to have to, play well tomorrow. They have a bunch of people who could possibly be playing for starting positions on other teams going into next year, guys. Let's face the reality of the situation. The coaching staff's on a 1 year deal. Um, there's not many folks on the coaching staff that have experience. They're humans too. They're probably worried about their own lives and what's going on, and you can kind of see that leaking into the game plan and some of the comments that the players and the coaches are having after the game, where they're saying, during practices they're looking unprepared. Some of the players are saying that the effort's not there, and they're having some of the worst practices that they've had in quite some time. So if that's the case, really, you can just chalk that up as the situation that Jerry Jones put everybody under, whether it's a player or a coach. Um, you have Ezekiel Elliott being allegedly, you know, accused of cussing out Mike McCarthy, and if Zeke's doing that, guys, in front of the whole team, Mike's lost the locker room. Zeke's like a 9 year vet, right? And he has skins on the wall when it comes to the Cowboys. I think he has a lot of respect in that locker room as well. Guy might be washed, but he probably comes to practice, tries hard, and runs as hard as he can. And I know a lot of the problems that he's having right now are outside of his hands with the offensive line. We'll see that, this is another, just going to pause that conversation for a second. They're throwing it to number one here, and he's having success scoring a touchdown when the Eagles are trying to blitz. So you got to be careful, because if you're not coming home and you're giving him that time, he's able to cut you up. So Kirk Cousins isn't a bum, guys. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, and he got paid $100 million guaranteed for a reason. If he has skilled players around him, he can make it happen. But back to that Zeke conversation now. Really, what I wanted to discuss there with Zeke is that he has skins on the wall, and if he's cussing out Mike McCarthy in front of the team, like that's not a good look. And I don't know how it happened, and if it's the discipline came down from the front office and from Jerry, or Mike went to Jerry and was like, "Hey, I'm not bringing this guy on the plane," and he kind of had to agree. But could be a make it or break it point for the team right now. I know Cowboys Nation probably doesn't want to hear that, but I'm going to go through two scenarios with you right now. Both of them, I don't mind. Becoming a new content creator, whether we go left or right, it's going to be fine for me, because I'm going to give you scenario one. We win tomorrow. Okay. We win tomorrow and we go to 4-4. We're sitting in our division, 2 games back behind Washington, 1 game back behind Philadelphia. Philadelphia will be playing tomorrow as well. And let's take a look and see who they're playing. They're playing Jacksonville, guys. It's probably very unlikely that Philadelphia at 5-2 loses to Jacksonville, but Doug Peterson knows that team probably better than anybody. So what I'll say there, and I want to keep reviewing this film with the Blitz because it's probably good. So I'll just pause here and we'll go through the scenario. But what I'm saying here is that with Doug Peterson, honestly, what I can say is that he is one person that knows the Philadelphia Eagles inside and out. He's coached that team to a Super Bowl, and he probably doesn't know the current roster, but I'm sure he knows how the regime works and the insides and outsides of that team. So if there's a team that can go ahead and beat the Eagles, Jacksonville has a fighting chance. So we'll leave it at that. But in our scenario that we're going to play out here, the Cowboys are winning tomorrow. They're 4-4. Well, let's say hypothetically the Eagles lose and they go to 5-3. The Washington Commanders are also, I believe, playing tomorrow. And we'll quickly look up who the Commanders are playing. They're playing the Giants. It's a division game, but let's be realistic in our scenario here. The Commanders aren't a bum team, like I keep saying to everybody. I mentioned it on a couple of spaces today. Dan Quinn stole the Dallas Cowboys proprietary information in regards to the division when it comes to the New York Giants, when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, and when it comes to the Washington Commanders. So they're probably not going to lose to New York. Let's be fair. Um, New York's a bum ass team. Like Dan Quinn's going to probably stomp them out. So okay, that's fine. They're 6-2. They'll move up to 7-2. And Washington again will take a and the NFL will take a look at Jaden Daniels. They'll probably say he's the rookie of the year, and Washington will continue and to mount this, story of their success and them looking like a scary team to beat in the NFC. I still don't believe it. I still don't believe Washington is that team. I still don't think that they're going to be successful late into the year. They have a lot of tough games coming up. They got the bum ass Giants right now. The Steelers come to play them, and the Steelers are a good defense. Let's see how that rookie can do against the Steelers. They have games right after division games, Thursday night football against the Eagles, and then a big Sunday game at home against the Cowboys. So the division is up for grabs. I haven't gone into this scenario a little bit further, and I will. I just wanted to kind of explain that to you guys. We're talking about now the 7-2 Skins, the 4-4 Cowboys, the 5-3 Eagles. That is with a win this weekend. Okay, and that is with the Eagles losing. Even if the Eagles win, they'll move up to 6-2. That's fine. 2 games ahead of the Cowboys, and then another game ahead is the Commanders, which will play the Eagles in the couple of following weeks. So you can see how things get quite complicated here. Okay, now we're gonna go into the next week here. The Cowboys play the Eagles, and if the Cowboys come out with a win, they will bump up to 5-4. The Eagles could, let's say the Eagles, we'll give them the best case scenario. Okay, they beat Jacksonville. Doug Peterson has a shit team right now. He can't get anything done. Eagles go ahead and get out of there with a win. They're going to be 6-2 then as well. Okay, something like that. They're going to have 6 wins. That I know for sure. I'll tell you the exact record in a second. In the scenario here, the Eagles will be 6-2. The Commanders will be 7-2. The Cowboys will be 4-4. But now they play the Eagles. Okay, the Eagles. Let's say they lose that game. The Cowboys continue this winning streak now to a 2-game winning streak. They improve their record to 5-4. The Eagles have now lost to the Dallas Cowboys. They have now dropped their record to 6-3. Okay. They haven't lost any games all the way up until they play the Cowboys. Now they play them, they drop that game. I think everybody in the fan base, I'm not being a homer here, everybody in the fan base understood that this is a realistic scenario with us splitting 1-1. So now that they're 6-3, we're 5-4. The Commanders play the Steelers, which are 7-2. Steelers are a great team. I don't think they're going to lose to a rookie quarterback. That's going to take the Commanders to 7-3. So after next week, if the Cowboys continue this 2-game winning streak, winning against the Atlanta Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles, they will be 5-4. The Philadelphia Eagles will be 6-3, and the Washington Commanders will be 7-3 going into the third week of this scenario. Okay. And the third week of this scenario is important because we have the Washington Commanders playing the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is why I keep telling you on Twitter and I keep telling you on YouTube that the season is a week to week season, guys. You guys are asking why we're on First Take every single week? Because everyone's bugging out over, little things that happen every single week that go ahead and add up to this drama and storyline of the season. So how can our story change? It can change quite fast. Going into this third week of this scenario, the Cowboys are just worrying about themselves at this point, guys. They've won against the Falcons. They took care of a division opponent against the Eagles, which is quite possible. Micah Parsons, Deron Bland coming back, Kendricks being healthy. There's a lot of guys that can come back that week. So I'm not being unrealistic here. Going into this third week, where now the Commanders and Eagles play each other. So the Commanders are sitting there at 6-3. 7-3. The Eagles are sitting there at 6-3. And really, these two teams, somebody has to lose. And regardless of my scenario here, in 3 weeks, one of those teams has to lose to each other. So if the Eagles go out on top and they're able to get a win and give the Commanders a loss, that is fantastic, guys, for us. We have a win against the Eagles. That gives us an edge, okay? And that gives us a game on Monday night against Houston, who I just saw lose to a Jets team that was struggling even harder than we were. And what's happening now is that gives us a fighting chance to get one game behind our division opponents here. In 3 weeks, we could potentially be looking at a division that sits with teams like the Eagles at 7-3, the Commanders at 7-3, or even possibly 7-4, and now the Cowboys at 6-4, creeping up here for you know, a battle that's going to come up the week after when we play the Commanders on Sunday Night Football. And that battle might actually be for the division. That battle could potentially be for a three-way tie between the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Commanders, and the Dallas Cowboys at 7 wins for the division. Now, in our scenario here, it could be very well true that in this scenario, the Philadelphia Eagles go ahead and win that week, that fourth week there where we play the Commanders. The great thing about football is the Commanders now they have to play the Philadelphia Eagles and then they have to play the Dallas Cowboys the week right after. So they have to play these two division games. Somebody's gonna have to lose here, and it's gonna give someone a leg up on the division or somebody a chance to come back. In regards to who the Philadelphia Eagles play coming up in those couple of weeks, that fourth week there, after they play the Commanders, they play on Sunday Night Football against the Los Angeles Rams, who, let me tell you, are a team that's looking stronger and stronger every single week as they have Puka Nakua come back. Um, I've had him on my fantasy team. He's been on IR for me all year, and he's finally come back and he's putting in work for them. So let me just tell you guys, football is a week to week league. Anything can happen. I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to go on a 3 game win streak, but I'm telling you guys that going into that third week here, as long as we take care of business starting with this week, and we have a fighting shot to beat the Philadelphia Eagles with Saquon Barkley, who the Cowboys have stopped year in and year out, that third week, we could be really, really clawing for our chance back at the division and have some of these tiebreakers over some teams that could be potentially in that slot with us for that last or second last wild card position when it comes to the end of the year. You guys are going to call me crazy, but it starts off with a Falcons win. Now, the second part of the scenario is quite simple. The Cowboys lose today. My graphic on the right hand side changes here from, who we play week 10 to what it was earlier in the week before I gave up and kind of, thought to myself, it's not time for draft season yet. We're picking 13th right now, folks. And if we continue to lose, that's fantastic because I'm all about the draft. And guess what? If we continue to lose, we'll be picking in the top 10. And the Cowboys are open for business when it comes to picking any single position that's going to help them. So that'll be giving us some ammo to do some research. I'll open up the draft book next week if we come out with a loss. I'll continue to provide you guys content. Last couple of weeks been tough, like injured my back a little bit, so it's been hard coming back into the content world. But I'm all set up here now. Shout out to Tuck, shout out to Law Nation, shout out to Loose Takes, shout out to your guy Nix. There's so many guys here in the content space that are creators. They've welcomed me. Um, kind of they really with open arms, in my opinion, and really my take on the Cowboys. So I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate everybody that's watching. I'm gonna go ahead and get back into this film. We'll do a little bit more of this, and then I'll end the session for tonight, and we'll do some predictions, and I'll start putting some bets in here too. To be honest, guys, with all this film work that I do and all the research that I do, I have a lot of analysis on player props. So I'll start to build that in, and fantasy as well. Got some outlook, and what the draft season is going to do for us is give us an outlook on really what's happening with who's coming into the league when it comes to 2025 and who we should be looking at, not only from a perspective of the Cowboys, but really a perspective of the NFL as well. Now, Let's take a look at something else here. I'm going to go to 10-yard runs, and let's see what we can get with 10-yard runs in terms of what's going on with Bijan Robinson. Be surprised to see if Algier is included in any of these, but it looks like some of them are by him. But let's take a peek as soon as it comes up. I'll put it up on the screen. So I'm expecting them to try to gash us tomorrow, right? Algier runs to the left here, outside runs. Something to point out here. Shout out to Bobby Belt. I listen to you guys too. Love of the Star, Brian Broaddus. Look up to you, man. Listen to you every single day, whatever platform you're on, buddy. These guys were talking about how the Falcons are one of the teams that run outside the most out of any team in the NFL. So these 10 plus yard runs, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of all fall. That first one was to the left to Algier. This one is also outside to the left to Bijan Robinson. It looks like they want to give these guys a running start. They want to give them space and they want to put them outside where their tackles and their physical wide receivers can do a great job blocking and getting these guys some yards. And another thing to point out as well, something the Falcons struggle against are stacked boxes. Every time we've seen a play so far that's been a 10-yard run, it's been an outside run, and it's been a run to the left. So, another tendency, guys, to kind of point out here. One of the tendencies was that Bijan was going to chip on a third down. And here you can see a big tendency here is when they're going to get a big play on a run, they're looking to run to the outside, to the left, whether it is Algier or whether it is Bijan Robinson. But something I wanted to tell you guys about really another thing about the Falcons' tendencies is they're really terrible against a stacked box. But the problem with that for the Dallas Cowboys is that Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson have been utter garbage. They're cooked, these two safeties that the Cowboys are playing with. I can't even begin to tell you guys how bad these two are. Honestly, for myself, I started to notice this at the beginning of the season. I started to notice specifically Donovan Wilson was playing so terrible. Even the first and second game of the season, I couldn't really make, I couldn't really figure out what it was, but his assignments were all off. He was running like in directions where I couldn't really figure out where he was trying to go. Um, there was issues with his coverage, and then I saw that kind of leak into Malik Willis. Sorry, not Malik Willis. Malik Hooker as well. And Malik Hooker's missing, wide open interceptions. He's dropping balls and getting to the point where it's looking like he's regressing. And the unfortunate part is, guys, we paid these two guys, man. We just literally paid these two guys and we're stuck with them. And I want to see Wanye Thomas and I want to see some of these other guys on the field. But what's happening is we're in a position where unfortunately we're stuck because these guys are made men. Um, they have contracts and their contracts are quite big. And you guys know what happens when Cowboys players have contracts. They're on the field regardless of talent. So unfortunately, that's the case with these two safeties. So stacking the box tomorrow is something Mike Zimmer probably knows is going to be effective, but who he does it with will be interesting. And Mike Zimmer also knows that pressure is going to be effective tomorrow, and I want him to use Overshown as a cheap man's Micah Parsons. But we'll see, guys. We'll see how that goes. What we're looking at now are all plays over 20 plus yards. So these are all plays Kirk Cousins is throwing in the air, and really what he's doing on some of these bombs that he's throwing out there. Kyle Pitts here, he's getting covered by a linebacker. That'll be interesting as well to see who Dallas puts onto Kyle Pitts. Are we going to put you know, McQuamu on him because we have injuries here to Trayvon Diggs? Are we going to put Overshown on him to carry him up the field? Overshown does have quite a bit of speed. This is going to be a huge mismatch for the Falcons on the Cowboys, and they'll look to exploit it along with their run game. What I can see happening tomorrow is the Falcons come into Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They're trying to run the ball with Robinson. They split carries with him and Algier to keep Robinson and Algier fresh. And then from that, they play action pass to Drake London and then to Kyle Pitts. I don't think Kyle Pitts is Kirk Cousins' number one target. I think it'll go Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and then Daryl Mooney. Daryl Mooney is also a flash player. He's actually rare, speaking of timing, and he's another guy that's probably going to show up on this film here for 20 plus yard catches. He's a lightning in a bottle type of guy. Daryl Mooney is, I'll remind you guys, another player like we played this year, like Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Shaheed burned us, guys, just like Mooney is burning this team right now, the Saints. Uh, Rashid Shaheed, he lit us up, and he lit us up on one man coverage. It was something we couldn't handle. So that'll be something that'll be interesting to look out for tomorrow. There's a ton of different film we can look at, guys, but I'll leave it at that. This was a great live. Once again, thanks for the support. I appreciate all the content creators supporting me as well. Touchdown Labs out today, and honestly, I'm hoping that the Cowboys get this dub tomorrow. I'm actually going to predict that the Cowboys come out and get this dub tomorrow. There's a lot of drama going on with the team. There's a lot of stuff going on with the team right now when it comes to, the players being upset, the coaching staff being upset. I think people are going to be playing for their jobs tomorrow. Everything that's in the bag is going to come out the bag. And I think the Cowboys come on top 33-30. It's a nail biter. Defense gives up a bunch of yards, but we come out with a win. We go back to 500, and then we're going into the Eagles game next week with a big, big division game in our hands. Let's go, Cowboys. Let's go, Cowboys Nation. TD Labs out.